Okay, so for today's topic, I was actually sent this article yesterday, believe it or not, and what ended up happening was that I read the title and I said, "Ooh, this actually could be a really interesting video." So I decided to read it literally today, and while I was going through it, and then I came across another article that it was referencing. So while this one's more of an opinion piece, more or less, I want to go into the original article because it talks about like addiction in video games with teens. And so that's kind of a hot topic regardless. Like video games have always been controversial, even going back to like when people connected like violence in video games, even though it's been debunked so many times. Some people will still believe it. Some parents are still anti video games, even though I think video games can offer a lot. Like they can be what's the English word? It's like decompress, yeah, decompress. You can relax a bit more. That's really what I I think is good. Also, video games can sometimes improve like your problem solving skills because sometimes you're presented with a puzzle and you have to figure out how to solve it. Of course, most of us will go reference an online guide because we don't got that kind of time, but regardless, you still have the time to do it. So anyways, but there is downsides too, like you can also play too much video games, you can end up being addicted, which is the title of this video, and all that fun stuff. But I'm really going a little off topic, but essentially that's what we have here. And so I'm going to look. So I read the original article, and I just took some notes from it because it's a bit long, and I don't want to read. I don't want to bore you guys to death with some of the reading in here. And so I took about 5 different notes in this part. So it says here, um, revolves around the story of a man named Jake that had a severe gaming addiction, and I mean severe. I mean like he used to spend a lot. He spent like way too much time on video games. To the point where like he was cutting school. He was trying to eat to go to his room, and there was other stories about people like busting out, breaking down windows to get their stuff that was locked in a room. Like this is how severe the gaming addiction was. And so it was talking about what the causes of it, and asking like why it was that way. And so it was talking about these different therapies and all that. And so in here it also says like there was treatment plans that include stuff such as like cognitive behavioral therapy, and the main goal was actually to control the habit of playing the video games because a reality is that video games are not really going anywhere. They're going to continue to evolve. So it's better to teach people how to control the habit if it gets too much, rather than try to get rid of all of it together. Because something you'll notice in addicts in particular is that a lot of them will get like withdrawal if you take them away from substances like too soon. So I'm making an educated guess that this is similar with how it happens with video games. And so another thing that I actually found in this article was that analysis of Ofcom in 2021 said that on average, people spend about 7.5 hours gaming, or some people do it even more, which is particularly in the UK. So that tells you that a lot of people spend their time gaming. I mean, you're watching me play a video game right now, but that's mostly for content and not really for, my enjoyment, even though it has some of my dream in there. And so when I was parsing through this article, the main quote that I came across that really explains the whole cause, and I read through it a few times, and so I came across this said that many of them hate their daily reality, many of them cannot wait to grow up, many of them are very anxious about marriage or mental health on their parents. It just shows how multifactorial addiction is and how gaming disorder is just one of more manifestations of things going wrong. And I'm just gonna really mention it, but what I noticed at least about a video game and like my own analysis. So take it as you will, but to me, the reason why video games can be addictive, and why I've noticed it, is that I'll speak only for me. I can't speak for everybody, but to me, a video game will give you a challenge, but it's not just a challenge. It actually equips you for the challenge, quote unquote. But it's up to you taking the tools, unless it's something that's blatantly unfair. You have the tools needed to in order to overcome this obstacle, and that can be very appealing to a lot of people because I mean, how are you going to approach life? Like life can sometimes feel unfair, but when somebody gives you the right tools, guess what? You have the ability to excel and overcome your obstacles. So imagine that you have to take on the challenge that to you is a bit tough, but it's manageable. And so you keep trying over and over and over again, and to the point where, oh wait, I actually beat it because the video games have what I like to call like the illusion of difficulty. It's like, yeah, it's hard, quote unquote, but at the same time, it's like you still have the tools needed, and even though you're dying, you're basically repeating a loop over and over again where it's like, okay, I can go in, go back, die, try something again, go in, go back, try again, something again, but life doesn't really work like that. And so what I've at least noticed in a lot of addicts, or at least what I've read up on it, is that there's always, whenever someone's addicted to something, it's because of a lack of something else. So, because if you're fulfilled, you're not really going to be addicted to other stuff. You're less likely. But if you're not fulfilled, which a lot of people do come from broken homes in general, you'll find that a lot of people are, in need of something. So, yeah. But, anyways, this one put some brief context into that particular portion. And now I'll talk about the DSM-5 for when it talks about addiction. Now, DSM-5 is essentially a manual for people to understand like mental disorders, and it's mostly used for like psychologists, psychiatrists, that particular field. So there's actually 11 of them. So I'm just gonna read them for you real quick, and so just so we can tie everything back together to something that's a bit more, concrete and actually studied. So in the criteria, so the first one says that using more of a substance than intended or using it for longer than you're meant to. The second one says trying to cut down or stop using the substance but being unable to, experiencing intense cravings or urges to use the substance, needing more of the substance to get the desired effect, also called tolerance, developing withdrawal symptoms when not using the substance, spending more time getting and using drugs or in recovering from substance use, neglecting responsibilities at home, work, or school because of substance use, continuing to use even when it causes relationship problems, giving up important or desirable social or recreational activities due to substance use, using substances in risky settings that puts you in danger, continuing to use despite the substance causing problems to your physical and mental health. So as you can see here, there's a lot. And when it comes to criterias, I want you guys to keep in mind that whenever you look at stuff, you're not supposed to check all 11. You're supposed to check off if you check off some of the boxes, then you probably have it. But I'm not a professional, so I'm just someone reading into this stuff. So take it as you will. Now, how does this particularly tie into our friend here? So something I found in the article was that he would actually skip meals in a blink of an eye at 90 miles per hour, at least according to to his mom, so he could retreat to his room. And if she didn't prompt him to have a shower, he's not going to have a shower for a week or a month or whatever. He was so dirty he didn't brush his teeth. So that's signs of someone who's struggling with something. And as you can see here, it's actually the struggle. But anyways, just wanted to give you some overall context before we get into the main topic. Now into the main topic of our video. And so the article in question is called "It's Not Them, It's Us, the Real Reason Teens Are Addicted to Video Games." And it's a lot shorter than what was presented prior, but I'm still going to just give you the most important parts that I noticed. And so when I look at this stuff, I saw that it said, in particular, this one part actually was actually intriguing. So particularly in the UK, like since 2010, like 4,500 youth work jobs had been cut and 760 youth centers have been closed. And let me keep you in mind, like when it comes to like children growing up, a lot of things that can project them into like the right ways, that if you get them into a sport or program, because you don't want them doing nothing. You need them to do something. You need them like soccer, basketball, whatever you got to do to play. And so that keeps them distracted. They also learn how to make friends. They learn lots of life skills. There's a lot of good reasons why you should get them into programs, not to have them just at home doing nothing. Or at least not playing video games all day. And this really hammers the point where it's like, if this stuff is getting closed down, like where are people supposed to go? Like, what are you supposed to do? Because I remember growing up, like some leagues were not cheap. So having a youth center was great. And it's better for them to focus themselves into a skill or something rather than going into like on the street. And then so another thing that was mentioned in this article was social gatherings are being restricted, like malls. Oh my god. I actually gotta mention, bro, I did not know that like shopping malls were getting shut down at like crazy rates. I believe the stat that I saw was like it's projected like up to like 87% of them can close down. And to me, that is mind-boggling because let me tell y'all, listen, we used to go to the mall. All right, I'm not that old, mind you, but like pre-COVID, like the mall wasn't like the hangout spot, but like we used to go there often enough, and people would get stuff at the mall. Like, yeah, you get some stuff for cheap, whatever. It was nice, and the malls also like had some decent food and all that stuff. At least the ones that we have here. I can't speak for all of you. And then we had this one mall we used to go to like across the U.S. where you get to see stuff for cheap. Oh my lord. But anyways. What I'm just saying is that, like, the mall getting shut down is a crazy concept to me, just because of how, I won't say important it is, because the mall can be a little predatory sometimes, but just that, it's more like the sense of, like, community that you would get from the mall, that a place where you and your friends could all go and just find one spot and hang out, rather than, everyone all over the place. Like, say your friends are across the city and the mall's like in the center. Like, hey, y'all can go meet at the mall. So that's a little bit. That was mind-boggling to me. And even in here, instead stuff like local parks are being like, you know, overshadowed by like overprotective parents, like for the toddlers, like even like skate parks, like pedestrian zones are being, you know, insidiously privatized, and it's monitored by like police and private security guards. It's like, wow, it's like, whew. So you're telling me people have nowhere to go? At least this is talking about the UK in particular, but it's kind of a problem, in other places as well. So that's that is crazy to me that you're telling me that everywhere is just going to shut down. And you know, when it comes to like a video game, like fulfilling that need of like, I won't say adventure, but like going out. Like, listen, when I first opened up Elden Ring, like when the first time I played it, and you open the gates to get outside, dude, you are treated to like a massive world. And it's like, yeah, you have the ability to go explore this world. And when it comes to like hanging out in general, when it comes to like people, when you go outside, you notice that, oh god, like a medium coffee is like $6. Getting a combo even from McDonald's is like $11. It's like, bro, what's the McDonald's supposed to be the cheap option? Even trying to go to like to have an event or go to like a concert, it's like, bro, a concert ticket can cost you up to like $120. Like, it's not cheap to go out. So what are people gonna do? They're gonna get their fix somewhere else. They're gonna go play video games. And so what video games, like I said earlier, they do is that they literally feed that part of you that wants you to like, whether it's a challenging video game, whether it's a relaxing video game, it gives you the feel that you're looking for. And so sometimes, I won't lie to you, I'll put on some brainless game while I'm literally working on stuff or I'm just listening to stuff. I used to have like, I used to do some form of activity just to get myself off of something. So that's really where video games come in, and they're only going to get more popular because I'm pretty sure video games, like that industry, is literally outdoing like every single other entertainment industry. So it goes to show you that, like, they're not going anywhere. And guess what? They're only going to get even more. I don't got the word for it, but you get the point. Anyways, and the last thing this article mentioned was that working, even if you do work, it's not really like worth it because like by the time you, especially if you live alone, by the time you pay everything off, it's like, who has time to go outside? Who has time to go do this stuff? Imagine you come off an 8-hour shift and you're like, yo, let me go outside and go hang out. No, you want to go sleep. You want to go do other stuff. That maybe I can't speak for all y'all, but that's just me. Hell, especially if you have other stuff to do. Like I have to go to school sometimes. So, like I have to go to school and I gotta go to work. And by the time I come back home, I don't want to study. I want to go and sleep. I want to do something else. So it's really hard to find that time. And we really have, like, as a society in general, I feel like we have a really bad work-life balance. Like the way that the work's implementation is made is so archaic. It means it's old. Is that like how you're supposed to have time for other stuff? Like the 9 to 5 is not the future. But we're not gonna talk about, that's not the whole point. But the point is that, yeah, video game addiction is very multi-layered. There's a lot to it. So it's not so simple as oh, parents did. It's like, no. It's more like multiple factors led up to this moment. The truth of the matter is that video game addiction is very, very multi-layered. There's not one single answer to it. There's not one single way of like, this what caused it. And you know, I was saying this, but I keep saying this, but like video games actually put you in the driver's seat, and a lot of people wish they had that moment in their own life where like, I want to be in the driver's seat. I want to dictate how my own adventure goes. But life will beat you down and be like, yeah, that's not how it works. So, anyways, it's really, at the end of the day, also it's up to us to give ourselves our own agency. But anyways, this video is more like a gateway to like a bigger topic. So if you guys want to talk about it in the comments below, I actually highly encourage it because it's a very how do I put it? It's just a very big topic, and I cannot cover it in one single video, because this video is going to be like 15 minutes long. So what I encourage you guys is like, you know, do your own research, come to your own conclusions, and yeah, let this video serve as a gateway to a bigger discussion. So anyways, if you like me doing these topics and want to see some more of this stuff, because it's actually genuinely fascinating, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe down below. Leave a dislike if you want to. Doesn't matter to me. But that's enough out of me, so I'm checking out. Later.